Someone from civil society who's going to be talking to us shortly about what her experiences are, some things that she saw, and what they would be asking for going forward. We have Mrs. Idaya here with us. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
Just so you can talk to us a bit about the situation today in Kogi State.
I think the election started on a good note, but I think what this election has taught us again is that election is a stakeholders' affair. It's no longer about the early arrival or not of materials, but it's the level of violence, orchestrated violence that is being witnessed in these elections. I think this is one of the I don't even know how to put it, because I lack words myself as somebody who has been observing election, not just in Nigeria, but on the continent. It's very, very worrisome. It raises the question of what democracy really is exactly. Right now, there are ongoing violence. There has been harassment of observers. There has been destruction of electoral materials. There has been open shooting and cutting away of electoral materials in several polling units. It's uncalled for, and I think it's the worst thing to happen, especially after the 2019 elections. Rather than raising the bar on what we witnessed in the 2019 elections, this election has further lowered the bar and is raising questions on the 20 years of democracy we are celebrating this year.
Your group, just tell us about the experiences that your group had today, observing the elections.
I think it's been a mixed bag. In some places where we visited,
what's the name of the group?
Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. I think it's been a mixed bag. At the beginning of the process, we were at places that were peaceful. People turned out in large numbers to vote. There were electoral materials in several of those places. At least by 8, 9, we could say over 50% of the polling units were actually opened. And
just to add the fact that there was a large turnout, which was different.
Yeah. Very, very large turnout. I was in Ganaja, I was in Ajaokuta, I was in several places. Very huge turnout of people ready to vote. Even we had instances of men and women queuing separately in large numbers, old people as old as 80 years ready to vote. But rather than allow the will of the people to actually prevail, we had some thugs, political thugs, randomly come in glare daylight, cutting away materials, shooting. In some instances, we even had people forcing people to vote along a certain line. I think it's uncalled for. I think it's unexpected. And I think that it's not even allowing us to actually look at the process. It's already delegitimized the outcome of the elections.
Let's talk a bit about some of the issues that were raised by some civil society organizations. Like I said earlier, Yaga Africa held a press conference immediately after the situation, the first wave of attacks. One of the questions that they brought up was the issue of vote buying. Could you talk to us about that?
I think vote buying was rampant, as at yesterday the CDD had already issued a statement talking about financial inducement of voters and even electoral officials. And this is what we saw. In fact, all across Lokoja, there were vote buying. From yesterday, Ankara rice, money were being distributed, and the price of a vote ranges from 500 naira to 6,000 naira in these elections, because we had places in Olamaboro that they paid as much as 6,000 naira to buy a vote. In fact, I witnessed several instances of sign language. We even had instances of the police themselves watching while they sell the vote. The whole issue about EFCC, ICPC coming in to help and assist in reducing this obviously had no effect.
That brings us to another issue that you just raised, which is the fact that most of these things were happening while security operatives were present. Did you witness that? The violence and, of course, the vote buying?
Yes, the violence, the cutting away of electoral materials. We even had instances where the policemen themselves have to scamper for safety. So I think it's one that it's orchestrated. I'm very surprised that in many of the polling units I personally visited, I saw policemen within the precincts unarmed, But outside some of it, where we expect to have patrols of the over 35,000 police people who have been deployed with arms and ammunition trying to guard it, we've not seen it. We've seen videos which we are also trying to fact check at the CDD, if genuine or not, where they were cutting away materials and they had a full escort cover of the special anti-terrorism squad also. I think it's quite worrisome. It only raises the question that election is not just about voters. It's not about the Independent National Electoral Commission conducting an elections. It has to do with the nature and character of the political parties themselves, the zero-sum game, and the security agents. After the 2019 elections, we all called in all our preliminary statements, even before the election day itself, that we expect to see the security agencies raise the bar and not be involved the way they were in the 2019.
We do have to let you go there now, but thank you so much, Idea, for speaking with us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, so that's Idea speaking on the situation here in Kogi State, and we're waiting to hear from INEC and other players as to what is the situation, what should be done going forward. Back to you.